Hi everyone, this is Amy, and I am happily a homeschool mom. I am coming over here from my other channel, which is Thrifty Mama Scraps, which is a scrapbooking channel, and this is going to be predominantly a homeschool channel. And I noticed on YouTube that there aren't a lot of YouTubers out there that are homeschooling older kids and things that maybe lesson plans and fun things that you can do with your older tweens and teens. And so I thought that I would start a channel about that because that's what I'm homeschooling. I have a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old that I'm homeschooling. So today, for my first video, I thought that I would do an overview of my planner, which is what I do my lesson plans in. And what I use is the 365 Happy Planner. It is the large size, and it is the undated planner. And that seems to work best for me because of the fact that you have vacation on some weeks, and you don't always use every single day for homeschooling. So, and there are some months that we don't homeschool in because we don't homeschool during the summer. So the undated planner works very well for me. When I first got it, what I did was I took it apart and I started my planner with the month of September. And I started in September because of the fact that that was the month that we were going to start school in. We always start school the day after Labor Day. That's just, for years and years, that's what we've done. I've been homeschooling for 10 years, and I have 3 boys. I have, like I said, I have the 13 and 16-year-old that I'm currently homeschooling. They have been homeschooled from the very beginning. And then I have my oldest son, who is 25, and he was homeschooled from 6th grade through 10th grade. And then he went back to the high school for junior and senior year, and he graduated in 2012. So, So let me show you how I put together my planner. This is September, and this is kind of how I started this year with this planner because this was the first year that I did use the Happy Planner. In the past, I have used other styles of planners. I've printed out lesson plans off of Pinterest and put them in a binder, which worked very well. I did that last year. This year, I found this planner for $10 at Tuesday Morning, and I thought, we'll give it a go. We'll see how this works. And actually, I really like it, and I already ordered another one for next year because I like it so much. So in September, what I did was I covered this first page of the planner before each month. It usually has like birthdays this month and currently, and then it has a list of things like what I'm currently wearing, doing, cooking, whatever. Well, I don't need that for homeschooling. And so I just took washi tape and I covered these things up. And then I use this as a monthly recorder. And I'll show you on this month how that looks and how it's evolved from September through now it's March 2018. So let's turn to March, and I'm going to show you my month. So this is this is March, sorry. And I'm just going to do a slow overview of the month of March And then I'm going to do an overview of this week, which is March 12th through the 16th, 2018. I did do a faster version of this video, how I put it together last week, and it's on my other channel at Thrifty Mama Scraps, if you want to see a quicker version, but I didn't really go into any detail at all. I was just putting my weekly spread together. So this has way more content than the other video had. So first of all, I put washi tape up at the top, and I kind of decorated it a little bit with stickers because it is March for St. Patrick's Day. So right now in Bible, we're doing the Handbook for Christian Maturity, which is by Bill Bright, and it's a book that is written for high school and college age students. It's a really good book. It's really good. And we're just going a little bit at a time every morning. And another book that we use in conjunction with this book is this little book, and it's called His Thoughts Toward Me. And I will read each passage one a day, and then at the end there's some memory verses that they can look up. Philippians 2:13 and Matthew 28:20 is today's. And so they'll look that up in the Bible. They do copy work for that, so they have a notebook that they use specifically for Bible, and they'll copy that verse down, and then if they choose to memorize it, it's their choice. They memorize it, then they get a sticker that goes on a monthly chart that I have hanging on the wall. And at the end of every month, I tally up how many stickers that they have, and then they can trade it in for rewards, which are like extra ice cream, a popsicle or a treat, a can of soda, an extra hour of TV or video games, a movie or a game rental, a movie at the mall, a play date with a friend, fast food snack, $5 to spend. So at the end of the month, they tally up all of the memory verses they've learned, and then they can trade it in for however many tickets that and treats that they have. So, and they're very inexpensive treats, and you don't even have to use, what I use. It could be things that don't even cost any money. It could be pick a board game for game night, or your favorite meal. I'll cook your favorite meal for dinner. It could be things like that. But incentive works a long way, especially for tweens and teens, because of course they like to be rewarded with treats. Who doesn't? So that's why we do that. And it also helps them learn their memory verses, and they get they get excited about learning, earning, treats for that. So, and that's just how we do it. If you're someone who doesn't, like to give treats for work, that's your choice. That's just what we do, and that's what works for us. So, we're also doing narrations, and I kind of follow Charlotte Mason very loosely. So I do use her method for a lot of things, but I also add in other things as well. So it's kind of an eclectic mix. It's just what has worked for our family over the years. So right now we're studying Jesus's disciples, and each one, as we go through, they narrate what is read to them about each disciple. So they could very easily read that themselves. It's just something that I do during Bible time, and it's just faster if I read it and then they write what I read to them. So I'm a firm believer in read alouds because I think it's a lost art. I think it's enjoyable, gives us a break in the day, and a lot of things can be read to them that is maybe more difficult classical literature that they may not get into, but it's something that is important for them to have at least heard or read. And they do also read their own classical literature as well. So it just kind of breaks up our day, and that's just how we do it. We also do a nature study, and we do this a couple times a week. And what we do is we will have different animals and plants and different things that we study. I find the scientific name for that particular, and usually it's in Latin. And what they do is they look it up on their iPads and they draw it, sketch it, and then they write the common name for like the American robin, and then they also write the Latin name. And at the end of each month, we kind of match them up. So we play like a bingo game. I'll read the Latin name, they match it up with the common name. And that's just kind of a fun thing to do. If we don't do the bingo game, we like to play Jeopardy. And in one of my videos, I'm going to show you how we play Jeopardy. And so we'll have like a nature study column, and I will ask, what is the Latin name for the American robin? And then they'll give me that and get points for that for the Jeopardy game. We also use bingo for Spanish, and in the same manner as we would use it for nature study. So, or Jeopardy too. We have also done that too. And so for geography, we have different zones that we go through. We actually just finished the time zones study. So we're completely done with that, and we're studying something new today. So, and you'll see that when I start my weekly spread. So on the next page, which is actually the monthly spread, as you can see here, I have it for the most part divided into each of my children. So Hunter is my older child. He's 16, and then Ethan is 13. And what I do when I have them reading a novel, I will write down every chapter on each column. So I'll use washi tape across the top, and then I'll put R Hunter reading, R Ethan reading, M Hunter for math, and then M Ethan for math, and then science, history, and English we do together. So sometimes, as you can see, English isn't even filled out because we've been doing it separately in their own books. So, and they each have their own separate spelling books as well. So for reading, I write down every chapter in the book. And then I have, this is his English book right here, Reports and Essays is what he's working on. And then I write down every page number that he needs to complete. And then we'll just cross it off. And he's actually way past this. I haven't caught up on crossing these out. So, but I do this so I can go through and cross it off. And I prepare one of these every Saturday, which is the last Saturday of the month. And then I do my weekly planning on Sundays. So it usually takes a couple hours to do all my planning as far as in the beginning of the month, but a lot of it can be done very easily by copying, like let's say we only get to this chapter, or he only gets to this chapter 12, by the end of March. Well, then I'm going to start with chapter 13 in April, and I'm going to, here I have done with book. Well, then I'm going to, and he does a book report at the end of his book, and then we'll start another book, and then I'll list that on that column. So it doesn't really take a ton of time to do it this way, but it does help when I'm doing my weekly planning, because my weekly planning only takes about 5 minutes. It does not take a long time at all. I just write it down and pull these out. That's why I really like this Happy Planner, because they come out, and then, you know, just copy from here to there. And then usually I'll cross off what we've already completed, because I have it down on the weekly spread as well. So here I have my older son is reading The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon, and that's all the chapters there. And then he's doing the reports and essays for English. And then my younger son is reading Mr. Revere and I by Robert Lawson. And so he's reading those, this book, and then he'll do a book report at the end of that. And his English is actually listed a little bit differently. I think it's right here. Actually, these are his English papers, I think. No, this is math. Okay, so I have his English written down somewhere else. Okay, here is Hunter's math, and he uses Saxon. And then here is Ethan's math, and he is using a different math curriculum than Saxon right now. So, but Hunter is doing algebra. Ethan is doing his 6th grade math. So, or 7th grade math. He's kind of in between 6th and 7th grade for math. So science, right now we're studying moons and astronauts, space exploration. We use the book Observing God's World by Abeka, and then I write that down. We're also, our read aloud for science is Sir Isaac Newton, and that book, as we read it, I cross out the chapters. And then sometimes I'll have them do a narration on a chapter. Sometimes I won't. At the end of this book, they'll do a biography report on Sir Isaac Newton. Then in history, right now, we are studying the American Revolution. So this, we're working through a few different books. We generally use Story of the World, but in conjunction with that history curriculum, we're reading the Book of War by Dwight John Zimmerman. And these are the chapters that we're doing. We're also reading For King and Country by Thomas A. Lewis. And that is a book about George Washington. And then we're also going through the Revolutionary War for kids. And this has activities. Mostly what we use this book for is just different reinforcing activities. So that is it for the monthly spread. And so I'm going to get into my March weekly spread for this week. And this is it here. So this week, starting on Monday, I use these little planner stickers that come with the 365 planner kit, and I just mark, I usually use a different color for, this is my older son, this is my youngest son, and then this is our group work that we do together. So usually I list Bible here, and this is for the week, and then I cross off Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so I know how many days that we did it per week. So this is Bible, copy work, and memorization, like what I talked about earlier, and then Christian maturity, and then I cross that off as we go through that book. And then we have the colonies in 1775 reports. They have been working on each of the colonies, doing a report on each specific colony, and Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we do that, and they're going to be done with that packet. I make packets up, and I can show you in another video how I make the packets up at the beginning of the month for each student. So, and then for King and Country, finish chapter 1, and I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This particular book has very, very long chapters, so I read for about 15 minutes and then we're done with that per day. So right now we're finishing chapter 1 in this book. And then for Spanish, we're going to play a loteria game, which is basically just matching up the words with the English words with Spanish words. So this is how our week looks. On Monday, which is today, they have their spelling pretest. If they pass the spelling pretest with 100%, they do not have to take the test on Friday. I never make them take the test unless they have one wrong. If they have one or more wrong, then they have to take the test on Friday, but they also have to write that word 10 times. So that's basically what I have them do for spelling. They have their March journal, which is basically a monthly journal that I put together for them. And it just has story prompts and journal prompts on it, and then they write in their journal pertaining to whatever the topic is of the day. Because this is a holiday week, we do have some seasonal work to do. Reaching the Rainbow, which is a kind of a worksheet, and then St. Pat's Crazy Week, which is another worksheet that they're going to do that's seasonal. And usually these are English related or grammar related, and they're just reproducibles that I get that is congruent with their grade, because I do have a 7th grader and I do have a sophomore. I kind of go mid-range with it, so it's a little bit easier for the 10th grader but a little bit challenging for the 7th grader, so it's kind of mid-range. So it's usually probably about 9th grade is the book range that I use when they work on the seasonal work. So, and with English, we all can improve on punctuation, prepositions, sentence diagramming, different things like that. We can all improve on that all throughout our life. It's not specifically geared toward a certain age group anyways. We can all learn to use grammar and the English language in a better way. So here we have Bible, which that's just this. My 7th grader is doing cursive copy work, and he knows cursive, but I want him to, he copies portions of books and quotes in cursive, and it's just practice. It's just practice to help him with his cursive writing. So, and then he has March journal, and then he is searching for Shamrock's Luck of the Irish Bingo. So that's what he has for English, which is seasonal. And then their group work, they're doing New York, which is the colony that they're studying. Continue Oceans of Truth, chapter 9. Finish their science test in their book, because they're also finishing that. The person of interest that we're studying right now is Benedict Arnold. They're going to do a historical biography on him, biography report. Then they need to update their timeline in Book of the Century, and their Book of the Centuries is in a binder, and I can show you that sometime. What they do is as we work through our history curriculum, and as we research specific people and events in history, they write those down in their binder in their Book of Centuries. And that is something that is specifically Charlotte Mason, that I've adapted to our homeschool, and it works very well versus having the traditional timeline across your wall, which we have done in the past when the kids were a lot younger. This is just more contained because they're learning so much more now that they're older. So tomorrow we have a doctor's appointment in the morning, and then Wednesday my oldest son goes and he sees the foot doctor because he had an ingrown toenail removed a week ago, and so that's his post-op. So that's in the morning too. So I don't have a whole lot here for him in the morning because my husband will take him both days. And then I have more for my youngest son on these 2 days because he will be home. So he has March journal and wishful thinking, which is his English. And then I just noticed I didn't write down math for the week. Oh, I need to go through their math books when they get up and write down their math lessons. Normally, I'm a little bit more on top of this, but I just realized that last night when I was doing this, I did not write down their math assignments. But they do math every single day. So, and then Wednesday they have spelling work, or he has spelling work, which is in the work that's in his spelling book. Because he's 16, he doesn't have a traditional spelling book, but what he does is he does vocabulary. So I will give him a list of words, and then he needs to do the vocabulary for each of those words, and then he tests on those. So that's his spelling work. My 7th grader does have a specific spelling book that he uses, and then he does do the work that's in the spelling book. So his English is Spotlight on Shamrocks. He has March journal. My youngest son has cursive copy work, March journal. Of course, they're both going to have math. And then my youngest son has Shades of Green crossword puzzle, which is seasonal, and Shamrock Shenanigans, which is also seasonal. And then tomorrow they have North Carolina. Wednesday they have Rhode Island for their colony study. And then they have chapter 10 in Oceans of Truth, chapter 11 in Oceans of Truth. They start chapter 5.1 in science on Tuesday. Then they'll go to 5.2, 5.3, and so on. Tomorrow they're going to be talking about the siege of Yorktown, and then the Battle of Valmy, and then they're going to do the narration on that. They're going to update their timelines in their Book of Centuries. Then on Thursday, they have, of course, math, March journal, early on St. Pat's Day, St. Patrick's Day surprise. Those are the seasonal English papers. My youngest has cursive, copywork, March journal, a bit of Irish. Blarney is his English. They're going to play a colonies game, and I'm going to tell you how they play it. So, the 13 colonies game that they're going to play has a list of all of the colonies, and each colony is worth a certain amount of points. Well, on a giant piece of tag board is the colonies, just a map of the colonies. So, and I get my tag board at Dollar Tree, and so I make the 13 colonies on there, and what they're going to do is they're going to throw pennies, and they have to get a penny in a separate colony each time. And as they get whatever coins are in their the specific colonies, they get the points for that colony, and they have to add them up and keep track of them, and the first one to 500 points wins. And so basically what this does is it helps them learn what the colonies were, where they're located on the map, and it's also kind of a fun adding game for them as well. Even though they're both more advanced in math than just adding, it's just fun, and it helps them remember, and it's just another way to reinforce. And I can show on my channel later on in the week how I made the board, and maybe a little bit of them playing the game as well. So that's just a note to myself, and I do that on Post-it notes. They have chapter 12 in Oceans of Truth, which is the book about Sir Isaac Newton. They have science. I guess I skipped Wednesday because of the doctor's appointment. So they have 5.1 in science, and they have 5.2 on Thursday. Then they have narration. And then they have page 151 in core book, which is also a narration. And then they have piano lessons that afternoon, because every Thursday they have piano lessons. And then we also have a 4-H meeting that night. So Thursday is a very busy day for us, just as a rule anyway. But I keep a note of that on my school planner, because that way I know how to plan ahead on that day. So, and then Friday they have spelling tests, and that's only if they get one or more wrong on their pretest. He has Pot of Nims, which is their his English for the week, or for Friday, and then he has March Journal. My youngest has spelling test, his cursive copy work, Little Leprechaun and Green Poem, which he's going to do for his cursive copy work that day. It's just poetry. And March Journal. And then his English is called Lucky for Me. And then they're going to create a New England primer for part of their history. And their New England primer, what they're going to do is they're each going to take 13 letters of the alphabet, and they're going to make a primer. And basically they're going to draw a picture of a word that starts with that letter of the alphabet, and then they're going to write a kind of a rhyming little blurb for each page. And basically it's just to teach them about how students learned back in the late 1700s. So they're also going to do vocab, learning a trade, and they're going to sort and match index cards. And what that is I have a list of vocabulary words of careers that people at the in the late 1700s held, and what they're going to do is they're going to match them with the job description. So as if they were applying for a job for one of those types of businesses. So they're going to kind of play and pretend that they are someone that is looking for a job in the late 1700s and have knowledge of that job, so they would get hired there. And then for art on Friday, we always do art on Friday, they're going to be making pomander balls, and that is something that they made or people had in their homes in the late 1700s. And basically what it is it's a piece of fruit wrapped in cheesecloth that they basically poke whole cloves into, and then they hang up by a ribbon. And so they're going to make those too for art on Friday. So Friday I have create their New England primer, make colonial pomander balls. Then they have chapter 13 in Ocean of Truth. And then we're also going to, for science, we're also going to study matter, and they're going to make pistachio pudding. And list the different types of matter that are in pistachio pudding and the changes that take place and that. And then next week, what I will make notes to myself what I need to purchase or what we're going to be doing next week. So next week I need to find the wood burning tool because they're going to make fracture designs on wood. They're going to be burning designs into wood that are congruent with the late 1700s. So that's something that they're going to do. And then I also have a list. I need to purchase some whole cloves. I'll get those tomorrow. Tag board at Dollar Tree for the map for the game that we're going to play, the 13 Colonies game. Ethan needed new markers, so I already ordered them online from Amazon, so I need to cross those off. And then I need to pick up pistachio pudding mix. So I wrote those down as well. And this is just kind of, I cover this with washi tape, which is Saturday and Sunday. But of course, we don't school on Saturday and Sunday. So I just use this as a note section. And a lot of times I'll put little inspirational stickers here just to kind of inspire me and decorate throughout the week. So that is basically it for my planner. I usually keep all their work, like their worksheets and so forth, and maps that they're going to be using. I just keep it in the back of the planner for the week, and it's just easier for me. I even keep like folders with their English work in there and so forth. And that way, everything is together. I don't have to search for it. When it's time to do school, I just have everything together, and then I have the books beside me, what they need. And then they also have a shelf, and I'll show that in another video, of where they keep their individual textbooks and binders and their pencil case and so forth. So that's basically it. Sorry if this video is a little long, but I wanted to do a thorough overview of this planner and how I use it and how I homeschool my 13 and 16-year-old sons. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you'll be back for my next video. And I hope you enjoy this homeschooling channel. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.